let's get a check on the oil market now. We see, Brent did fall below that psychological level, $70. There's a recovery, 0.5%, but still trading below that level, $69.53. WTI crude, the other grade, $66.10 a barrel. So we're seeing pressure in the oil market, but does that translate to lower fuel prices? Well, I guess not, right here in Nigeria, but let's see how that translates in other countries. Joining us now to explore what to expect in the oil market, we have Wachira Kiruki, CEO, African Diaspora Asset Management, joining me via Zoom. Great to have you on the show.
Thank you, Ladi. It's a pleasure to be back on the channel's TV. I'm very happy to be here.
Yeah, it's great to have you. So we're seeing oil below $70. I'm still trying to get back above that level. Might be trading at that level at some point, but is it over for the $70 level short term?
I think the price, even today, we hit a new low of $64 a barrel. In fact, currently the price is just around the same amount, the same price. It has been dropping since last week. It's drawn up to $67 as per today. There's been a slight recovery. It's the first bullish candlestick in the entire week since Monday, since last Friday. So oil prices are dropping since Friday. As you know, there was an oil economic data that was released, which led to an influx in the market. There's too much oil essentially in the world over. And the economic data around jobs and prices and stuff like that simply means that there is not enough absorption. People don't have enough money to start participating in things that are supported by the oil industry. And as such, the price has dropped. It has been every day for the past 2 weeks, the price has been closing lower than it opened, other than maybe today. Today is the first day in about 6 days where the price has gone slightly up. It has been a bearish candlestick, bearish drop in the market every single day for 1.5 weeks. We are at an oil $67 a barrel. Coincidentally, Ladi, the last interview I was here, we were discussing oil, and it was at about $78 a barrel. So it's quite a huge drop in those 2 months. So it's a very unusual economic situation.
Right. So I'm guessing oil prices lower. Bad news for oil exporters, and that's for revenue. Correct. Then that should be good news for fuel users, I guess.
It should. So the per barrel cost has dropped, which means the price at the gas station should drop, which means the per liter cost of oil and gas should drop. So the irony is that because oil companies really buy oil so much far ahead, the actual impact of this drop is going to be likely felt at the station maybe from next month, not now, right? It is not instantaneous. Only traders like us and speculators take that particular benefit because they're holding short positions. But at the gas station, it takes about 1.5 months for that particular price to benefit the average retailer. So yes, we hope and pray the governments are not going to mess with the prices, and the OMCs, the oil marketing companies that buy these commodities in very large amounts, are able to let the retailers benefit from that particular price. Because if it's dropped that much, to it's almost a 25% decline. That's a very huge decline. Then surely the prices should be dropping the world over, and especially for us in Africa and third world countries at large. So yes, the effect will be there, just not instantaneous. Maybe within the next quarter, next month, October and November.
All right, I'm sure you've heard of the Dangote refinery right here in Nigeria. Yeah. Let's explore refining now in Africa. Tell me, what's the word on the street about Dangote's refinery?
Good question, Ladi. Now, you know that Dangote is having a problem with the Nigerian oil company, the national oil company, because they say his oil is quite expensive. As you know, there was a statement released. He expected them to be the sole buyers of his fuel, but they've come out to say that it's an open market and they don't need to be the sole owners of that particular oil. And of course, news media and the gutter press have it that for the first time, Dangote is supplying proper clean fuel, and they're used to adulterated fuel. That's why they don't want to take it up. They want to continue sustaining the previous regime of dirty fuel that has been there. All I can say is that other countries are perfectly happy to absorb his oil. I think he's brought in significant competitiveness in the market. If the Nigeria system is not willing to accommodate his fuel and take it up, then other countries are perfectly willing. I'm saying that as a country, as Kenya, for example, we had to do a government-to-government conversation with Saudi to buy oil from them in shillings for the first time. Now, Dangote is large enough to almost have those kind of conversations on accommodating different countries using their currency, right, and having a long-term deal, right? Nigeria was supposed to be the first to benefit, but since there seems to be politics involved in that process and the government is not willing to buy all his oil, which was the whole point of building that thing there, then other countries are going to benefit more sooner than later. And by the time Nigerians realize that, there are very long-term contracts, locked-in forwards, and options that have been sold on that particular oil. So my hope and prayer is that, on the ground, we are hoping and praying that we can benefit from it. It's probably the largest refinery we have in Africa, and probably even the world. So any amount of oil he can produce will definitely have a market. And East Africa is a fantastic market. I'm pretty sure that is going to happen as we go along. This discussion happened yesterday, so let's see how it tabulates and translates to politically and economically because of this geopolitics that's happening. But yes, we are excited about Dangote being able to produce that kind of oil, and our hope and prayer as East Africa is that he's able to bring down the cost. 99% of all the oil in East Africa is bought from Saudi and the Middle East. Pretty much, most of it, all the 16 oil marketing companies in Kenya buy from the Middle East. They even tell you the source, right? That's why we don't touch Brent. We just touch crude as it is. All right. So this would be an interesting form of oil. Remember, Dangote's oil is very gas, oil and petroleum is probably one of the most clean there is. It has the lowest sulfur content there is, which is something that is quite unusual for a petroleum. So it really ticks a lot of boxes in terms of the cleanliness and the green aspect of it and the hygiene of it and how it affects global standards. So we are perfectly happy to do it. We hope and pray that our government has a discussion with the other government and agrees on how we can acquire that oil.
All right, so fingers crossed, who's going to buy Dangote fuel first? Maybe Kenya, we'll definitely see. Thank you so much, Wachira Karuki, CEO, African Diaspora Asset Management. Thank you.
Always a pleasure, Ladi. Always a pleasure.